Hello everybody, we're back on 94. We're at this is Sycamore Canyon off of 94 outside of Hamul. We're going to take a little ride out to Campo. This is a great little road, has lots of nice twisties. I'm on the street bike today, so it's a much different ride than on the DR350. It's sort of fun to have some horsepower. I'm not used to being able to twist the throttle and feel power. So yeah, this bike is relatively new to me. 2006 Suzuki Katana. I got a really sweet deal on it. I have some issues that I'm working through. I already replaced the front tire, put a new chain on it. I'm gonna have to put fork seals on it. The bike was sitting for a number of years, and the previous owner claimed that he took the carbs off and went through them, but I don't think he was either really good at it or thorough, because it takes a while to warm up. Any carburetor bike to some extent is that way. I've had a lot of carburetor bikes, but it just, I don't know, maybe some of the gunk is still in the pilot jets or something, I don't know. So I'm gonna have to sort through that. I want to rebuild the front calipers, because when I took the wheel off to change the tire, I noticed oh, they were a little on the grungy side. So I'll put new seals in those and clean them up. I always like to have brakes that are dependable. I mean, this is stopping and everything, but this bike only has like 21,000 miles on it, so that is like just broken in for this kind of a bike. These inline 4 engines, I believe, I'm not positive, I believe this is the same engine that's in Bandits, and I've already had a few Bandits. Very reliable bike, and if you read any of the reviews on Katanas or Bandits, they're bulletproof. I mean, you know, you just do basic maintenance and pretty decent bikes. This is not a super fast. This is not a super bike. I didn't want a super bike. I'm not a super adrenaline junkie. I don't race. I don't go to the track. You know, I don't have to do 0 to 60 in 3 seconds or any crazy shit like that. But I wanted a street bike, because sometimes I'm just in the mood to ride on these kind of roads, the twisties, canyon rides, and I mean, I love my dual sport bike. Don't get me wrong, because it's so much fun to leave this tarmac and go on the dirt. But these kind of roads, of course, are best suited for street bikes. So depending on my mood, some days it's a dirt bike day, some days it's a street bike day. Today happens to be a street bike day. And like I said, this is a relatively new bike to me, so this is sort of like, you know, a shakedown ride. See how it behaves. Sometimes it's hard to find these bikes at this age. This is like a 2006. You know, a lot of times they got dents in the gas tank, or the fairings are all boogered up, missing fittings, cracked. You know, people lay these. You know, these bikes, you lay them down, they're going to bust the fairings up if you don't have sliders on or whatever. really run it that much. And he got rid of it because he just couldn't ride anymore. His back was killing him, he said. Now there, Marion Valley Road right there, as you remember, that'll take you out to the Otay truck trail. That's one of the other access points to the truck trail right there. Now I found some other good dirt roads off of this, but I'm not about to venture on those dirt roads in this. That's not a smart thing. I'll point out another dirt road up here that was really cool. It went right to the border. I mean, you actually rode right next to the barbed wire fence to Mexico. Some of these dirt roads, I mean, are really cool. Other ones are locked up with gates, and I don't like to crash gates. I mean, if the gates are open, I go, but you know, I don't cut chains. I don't go out of my way to trespass, because I just don't need my kind of luck. You know, I don't need fines with rangers or border patrol. Like, the truck trail is normally always open, and these other roads that I found have been open, but they all have chains and gates that are sometimes closed. This road right here to the left where it says Trump 2020, that's the Lucky 6 truck trail. I've been up on that, made a video on that. That goes all the way up. It has some fantastic views up there. So yeah, this is, if you're in the San Diego area, this is a great fun little ride. This will go all the way out to El Centro. I'm not going that far. You know, this beats, I'd rather go on a road like this than the Freeway 8, which is really monotonous, and you know, this is more fun to me. I try to stay off freeways if I can help it, and my little DR is not a freeway bike. I mean, I'll, you know, that bike will do 60, 65, but like I said before in other videos, it's not happy doing that, you know. And then plus, of course, you know, to run it at those speeds and then carry my fat ass, it's not a happy bike. This bike, you know, this bike will do freeway speeds with no effort. This is a 600 Katana. They made 750s, they made 1100s, I think. But I don't need a leader bike. I really don't. This is a pretty valley here, huh? I'm old school. I still shoot film, believe it or not. And one of these days I got about 12 or 13 rolls of black and white that I gotta develop in the kitchen. Most people these days, they don't have any clue about developing pictures. They might have remembered a class they took way back in high school, but other than that, film is a distant memory. But there's still some diehards that are using film, and I don't know, I still like film. I realize that digital has been refined and super fast, super easy to do, no mess, no fuss, no chemicals, no temperature, no dark room needed. So I get all that, but you know, part of the fun was, for me, was playing the chemist in the dark room. ever that much traffic on this road. There's not many services out here, so, you know, don't come out here looking for gas. You can probably find it, you know, if you really needed it, but you're going to pay through the nose. I think Potrero has a gas station or two. They might even have like a little lunch spot, but there's not much out here. This is practically the lowest route in California because this comes mighty close to the Mexican border. I apologize for the wind noise, but this particular helmet seems to be noisier than my other helmet, and I don't know if it's because it's modular, but my other street helmet was a lot quieter, so I'm going to have to rig up my camera for that helmet again. You don't have as much wind noise. An old Chevy van. I used to have a Chevy van. Back in the 80s, remember, vans were like really popular. Those were back in the shag carpet days. Everybody wanted to have a love van. It's funny how we go through different stages and what's popular. You don't see anybody driving vans these days. I'd still like to have a Volkswagen bus, a Westphalia, one of those campers, but they're so expensive. I mean, I don't know. Cars, especially older cars, it's really become a rich man's hobby. You can't. I mean, when I was a kid growing up, you know, you could still buy muscle cars, you could still buy GTOs, you could still buy Mustangs and fix them up. You know, now anything that's a hint of a muscle car is like 10 to 15,000, and it's roached out. It's like a fucking like you wouldn't have even looked at it years ago, you know what I mean? It was like something that they dug out of the river. It's like unbelievable. That's one reason why I got into bikes more, because, you know, bikes are pretty affordable. I mean, even older vintage, I mean, I like older bikes. I've built a couple cafe bikes. My problem is I move around too much, and you really need like a garage. I really need a place to call home base for a while. But I've just been a gypsy most of my life. But bikes are much more affordable. They take up less room. But I remember, you know, you used, like I said, you used to be able to buy old cars, and it wasn't, you know, you could be an average guy having an average job, and if you did the work yourself, you know, it was a decent hobby. It was fun. First car I ever had was a 1930 Model A Ford. I've had a whole bunch of interesting cars. But like I said, now, any cool older cars, they're just really, they're not affordable. It's like everything else. It's like, wow, really? Like for a street bike, this bike when it was new was like $6,300. You know, back in 2006. I paid less than half of that. Well, a lot less than half. And it's basically just broken in. So I can't justify spending, you know, 10 or 12 grand on a new bike when if you're patient, you can find decent used bikes, because, you know, a lot of people get into them and then their enthusiasm just goes away, or, you know, you have life changes, you have kids, you don't ride them as much, you get married, partners don't want you to ride bikes anymore. There's a lot of variables. So a lot of times you can find some really good bikes that, like I said, people lost interest. This particular guy wasn't riding it because he had back problems. You know, of course, if money's no object, you know, buy them new if you want, but I've always bought my dirt bikes, the dual sports used, because you can save a lot of money. You can find bikes that already have desert tanks, already have racks, or people already did like mods, and that's in your favor, you know. Unless you can afford a KTM or a Husqvarna, where they're, you know, right out of the box, they're really decent bikes. I'm not knocking Japanese bikes. Japanese bikes are great. But every dual sport I've ever had, whether it's a Honda, a DR, there's always mods to do, you know. You always need a bigger gas tank. Guys fool around with suspension, aftermarket exhaust, blah, blah, blah. Now we're into Ferrero. There's not much in this little town. This is all agriculture. There's ranches out here. Horse country. Mexico is to the right. Over those hills. Some weekends you see a lot of bikes out here, because this is a pretty popular ride out to Campo. People from urban San Diego want to get out of the city and carve up the canyons. But it's pretty quiet out here. Saturday morning, nothing's going on. Like right now, this bike is running, you know, I have no complaints. It stops, it idles fine. But just when you first start it up in the morning, it acts like it's, you know, got tuberculosis. Now, I'm not talking, you know, it's really cold. This is July in San Diego, you know, and it's still like, oh my God, you can't jump on it and go. Where, you know, my DR is carbureted and I can jump on and pretty much go. This needs a little bit more, you know, you got to talk nice to it for a while and then it'll go. So I don't know. I think, like I said, I think the previous guy, he probably got most of the gunk out, but, you know, if you don't get it all out, you're going to still have a bike that runs sort of half-assed. Now I would take these carbs off myself, but like I said, right now I don't have a shop to work in. I don't have a place. And when you do a 4-bank carb, I don't know about anybody else, but I don't clean it and rebuild it all in one day, you know. It's an hour or two just to get the carbs off. Gotta disassemble them, take all the jets out, let them soak in carb cleaner. lot of people overlook. So, you know, when you do a carb clean, sink and everything, it's not a 2-hour job. So depending on it depends on a lot. If I have to move in a month, I'm not going to probably fool with these carbs, because the last thing I want to do is to take carbs off and then have to move the bike. I don't want to risk losing parts. You know, when I take carbs off, I like to have a bench. I like to be clean. I like to be organized. I don't like to lose parts. There's a lot of parts in a carburetor, especially when you got 4 carbs. Coming up here is, I'll point out the other road where you can go off to the right. It takes you right to Mexico. And I haven't really, I made a video about it, but I didn't do that much exploring. There seems to be like a network of all kinds of roads back here. It's coming up here. This is about 30 miles from where I live. This road right here to the right back there, where it says please lock gate. You go back there and there's a whole system of other dirt roads back there. It goes right to the border. I'd like to go back and do more there. I'd like to find somebody that wants to check it out with me. Gotta take my GPS with me so I can find my way back out. I mean, there's tons of places in it, and the trouble is, they all look alike. All the roads look alike. You know, all the terrain looks alike. So until you go out there a few times, I don't know where the hell I am. I have a general idea, but some of those roads also, they don't come out to anywhere, or they come to a locked gate. So if I do explore those kind of places, I always like to make sure that even if like a ranger or the border patrol, if by chance they lock the gate, I want to make sure I can get out, whether it's I can get around the gate or something. So after I like go into an area like that, I spend the time, and there's border patrol right there. I spend some time, and there's another dirt road. There's something going on up there. I like to spend the time, like I said, so I know there's an evacuation. Like there's some way that you can get back out to the main road. I don't like to be locked into anything. And you know, Murphy's Law is Murphy's Law. It'd be my luck. You go in, you find your way out, and then a ranger or border patrol decided to lock the gate. I was on the truck trail a couple weeks ago, and one of the ways, there's a couple ways to get on it and off of it, and one of the exit roads were locked, but luckily it's not a problem. There's an easy way you can get around the gate, and if you're on a dirt bike, real easy, you can get right back on the road. This bike would have a hard time. You might have a little hard time, but like I said, I don't take street bikes on dirt bike roads. You're just asking for trouble. And this is a heavy bike compared to my dirt bike. This is like 460, 470 pounds wet. So it's not the kind of bike you want to drop. Especially when you have a bad back like I do. You drop this bike, you know, you're going to break something. You're going to been on ninjas when I lived in Asia, and sometimes you don't have a choice because the road just stops being paved and now it's dirt. But they're not difficult dirt roads, but you know, street bikes are just not, they don't have the ground clearance. Like when the last time I was living in Asia, I had a what was it? 2017. It was a brand new Kawasaki Versi 300. It was a pretty decent bike for there. It's a twin. It has more than enough power. And you know, that is considered a big bike in the Philippines, you know. But most of the people there, you know, they're just riding on these 110, 125, 150cc scooters, you know. I used to have a Honda CRF 250L there, and people used to think, oh wow, that's a big bike. And you know, most Asian guys are tiny guys. They couldn't even reach the ground. They couldn't even get on it. Hondas are tall dual sports. But they loved it, but they were intimidated by it. I had that Honda for almost a year there. I wore a set of knobbies out. It's hard to get decent knobbies in Asia, and it's funny because the tires are made there, the bikes are made there, but it's hard to get parts there. You gotta wait weeks. You have to go to the big cities to get the parts. We're really spoiled here in the States. We're really spoiled, and most people don't even realize it. There's a lot of dirt roads out here. This road, I'm telling you, you never run out of roads to explore off of 94. So if you like street riding, this is a great road for street riding. If you got a dual sport, man, you can come out here every weekend and just keep finding places. Some of these roads are you know, people's driveways, but they all link up to these trails. I have to really get some typo maps to see where they all go, but there's a lot of them. A lot of them say, you know, no trespassing, which I pretty much get it, you know. If you live back there, unfortunately there's a lot of dirt bike people that abuse their bikes. And if you're living out here, that means that you like peace and quiet, and the last thing you really want to hear is dirt bikes that are got loud pipes on them. You know, nobody wants to listen to two strokes. Nobody wants that shit. This is historic Campo. That's the Campo Railroad Museum. Stone store. Now I'm going to check that out coming back, because you know I like rocks and minerals. This is about 40 miles east of San Diego. I know this is probably turning into a long video, but for those of you who want to see the ride out in this area, you're getting a first-hand look of Route 94. I don't think there's much past here. We'll go up a little bit and then I'll end this video. It is toasty out here. I'm actually glad that I don't have a jacket on. I just have a jersey. You would melt your buns off if you had your leather riding gear on. but it does cool down here at night. You have a large temperature spread, you know. It might be 60 degrees at night and it will be 98 or 100 like right now. This guy, you got to be kidding me. You're running in the heat of the day. What's wrong with you? It's like heat stroke. El Paso Taco Shop. You make a left here, it'll take you right up to 8. We'll go a little more. We're not going to go that much farther. All of these places have Campo addresses, but ooh, I smell some good old barnyard smells. There hasn't been more bikes. It's an interesting junkyard here. There's a lot of cool trucks. Motor Transport Museum, okay. Well, that explains why there's so many old trucks. But it's all locked up. But there's some really cool stuff in there. I would like to poke around in there, but all the gates were locked up. I don't know what the deal is. I never knew that was there, but you know, that's part of getting out and riding. You find things. We'll keep this video rolling for just a minute or two more, because I'm actually starting to get a little hungry, and I didn't pack a lunch today. I don't have any luggage on this bike. I have a backpack on, but I think this bike looks better without luggage. So I'm not going to put a giddy box on it or none of that crap. They do make racks for it, but I'm just not going to go there. I'm going to open my visor here. It'll be really windy, but I want to get a bug out. Sorry about that. This all looks like movie set country, you know, like they'd be shooting a Western out here. Really rugged country. Hot, very, very dry. Not the place you want to break down with no water. I want to look for a little spot to turn around, have some shade and have a drink, and then we're going to head westbound. And I won't bore you with the return video, but like I said, this will give people an opportunity that